If you remember this from the last video, I'm sure it has another use apart from enabling you to make the wheel hooks. It's going to help me to center the grind disc on the hub. So these are new discs. Actually, I got these from AliExpress. I bought two of these, one at 320 grit, one at 180 grit. This is a 320, and this one's a used one, so I'm not very impressed by that. Anyway, just want this not tight, not loose. I want it just so that it will move when pushed. So just don't forget the locking bolt, otherwise it's going to come off. Get that out of the way a bit. Out of the way a bit more. Okay, that'll do. So it will move. Then we take the parting tool off the back rear tool post and replace it with this tool, which is a ball bearing, which I use sometimes to true up work running in the lathe, running in the chuck. It can work either that way or it can work that way against the face, that way against the edge of work pieces. By the same mechanism, it can be used to true up the position of this wheel. He says, if I can get at it. Whoa, it's close. Yeah, well, forget that then. It ain't gonna fit. Okay, plan B. I've moved the retaining washer to the other side of the disc, so the disc actually is further away from the spindle. Actually, that's a better position because this is so thin, it's set right close to the machine. It doesn't give a lot of access to the other side of the disc, but now I can actually get the ball bearing aligned. So I'm going to run this slow. You can hear it wasn't central, and now it is. What you've got to be very careful of doing this is not to push too hard. Okay, it ain't going to get any better than that. Now I've got to tighten it up without it shifting. Move the whole lot out of the way. Nip it up, and that's it. be running a lot better now. That's a good trick, particularly with the aluminium oxide wheels, stone wheels, which are notoriously off-centre, run eccentrically. I've got another one to do yet. Right, I'll take that out. So that's the new wheel fitted. Got a neat way of holding the unused wheels. Just push a 8mm bolt through and this screw on there. Great for storage. Anyway, it works fine. There's a bit more clearance having the washer on the side. So that's all good. Still on the D-bit tool. One of the chores is with these high-speed steel blanks is you actually have to split the blank to exactly half its width, diameter, to make your tool. And using the diamond wheel is not good for the diamond wheel on the D-bit grinder, so you don't want to be doing it really on the grinder itself. So I made this little fixture here, which I don't know if you can see. Nothing more than this is a faceplate clamp I made. I just adapted it so that it holds the blank in the V groove on this sliding part. Now I can use this CBM wheel, which is far more suited to grinding high-speed steel, and with being an 8-inch wheel it's a lot quicker as well. It'll focus. So yeah, it does a good job for that. For extra storage, I made these little boxes using a 3D printer. 3D printer. For extra storage, I made these little boxes which just fit in the on the shelf there, and they're made with a laser cutter. You see, they're just made out of thin plywood, 3mm plywood. Handy for storing junk and such. It's not what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. So a few recent tool acquisitions over the past week or so. I bought a new threading tool. Fix this in place. So I've not seen one like this before. Most of my threading tools, external threading tools, are made from high-speed steel, just ground up. Well, I've treated myself to this insert tool, but it's a vertical tool, so there's still 3 cutting edges. Instead of being horizontal, with the tool working in that position, this one works vertically. I bought this and 10 spare inserts. Wasn't that cheap really, it was about 48 quid, I remember right. But it's a nice quality tool. There's the info, got it from AliExpress. quite impressed by that. The other thing I got was a Noga clone deburring tool. I had to buy 2 of these to get the minimum amount for free postage, otherwise they charge you £8 postage. So I bought 2, and in the other one I put a standard deburring blade. It's made of alloy. It was only a few quid. I think it cost me £12 for 2. And the last thing I got over the past week or so was a new parting tool, which I got from RDG. This is a 19mm wide blade. They called it, you know, suitable for Myford. In actual fact, I could have used, I think the next one's up, it's either 23 or 26mm blade. I could have made it fit. And when I bought this, I bought it with 5 spare blade inserts, and it came with 2 blades, one for 3mm, one for 2mm. The one in the holder is 2mm. 3mm 1/8 wide about. It's a bit heavy cutting really for a Myford, but it does work. The only problem is you only get one holder, and they don't sell the holders separately. They do the larger ones, the 26mm ones, but not the 19mm ones. So I'm in the process of making another one. So that's that block. It's only partially done, that's 1/2 of it. That'll fit in there. It needs a locking cap which bolts across the top here. 3 bolts hold it in place. But we'll talk a bit more about parting tools. In the past I've used the old Eclipse type tool, which I've still got. That's it. You know, it works. It's always a little bit problematic. It would tend to jam at times, and, but it worked. Trouble is, there's a lot of overhang. See, because you've got to account for the tool as well. So pivot point is there. So we're talking 2 inches of overhang, which is a lot, really. Whereas you can see with the insert tool, it's much shorter, with the same sort of 1-inch stick out. I mean, they quote on their website, you know, this will cut to 70mm, 3 inches bar. Good luck with that. Yeah, I think the most I'd ever try and part off is about 2 inches. Beyond that, it's the bandsaw. But this works. I'll show you in a minute how well it does work. I bought just 5 spare, well, one came with it plus 5 spare ones, and they were quite expensive. I forget how much now. I think it was about 17 quid from RDG. But I looked on AliExpress later, and you can get 10 for 4 quid. Right. So I shouldn't have bought from RDG. Anyway, I've ordered 2 boxes of 10. I'll try them out and see if they're equally useful. So yeah, this, I mean, I've got another tool holder which I bought quite some time ago, which is this one, which is for mounting on the normal tool post, quick change tool post. But a long time ago I changed to a rear mounted tool for parting. This fits on that. and there's a definite advantage to doing that, which again I'll discuss shortly. But the old top slide mounted cutter I've now converted to, I don't know if you can see that, it's a threading tool. Just ground it 60-degree angle. And the advantage of this is that you can actually get right up to a shoulder with it, so it does have a use. Anyway, let's move across to the lathe and look at the parting system. Okay, well, the tool holder has actually got a ledge which registers against the side of the tool post, so I don't have to worry about it not being orthogonal to the axis of the lathe. It actually stays on there most of the time anyway, but if I do need to take it off, I can put it back really quick. The original idea was to have this thumb wheel to tighten, but I couldn't tighten it enough using that, so I still have to use a wrench. But in parting on the Myford, you can get around a lot of the problems you might encounter by having a rear tool post. It gets rid of the top slide, which adds some points of flexure. For parting, you need the machine which is absolutely rigid, and you can do that by using the locks on the slides that are not being used when parting. So that's the actual carriage, and for that I've got this, that lever locks the carriage. You've got to have the cross slide movable, obviously, because that's putting the cut on. But what you can do is take up any play in the gibs on the cross slide, make sure it's really well adjusted. I've got a piece of steel somewhere here. And what you don't want to be doing when parting is to take scraping cuts. You're just asking for trouble. You've got to take a decent cut, keep the pressure on, and keep it continuous. So let me just see if I can get a bit closer than that. What I never trusted the machine to do in the past was to part under power, because the high-speed steel blade did have a tendency to bind at times and jam up. This inserted cutting tip is less likely to do that. Doesn't mean it won't do it. We'll see what happens. So that's in position. I'm going to take a slice of this off under power. And you can probably have the machine running a lot faster than I'm going to use here. This is going to be about, I don't know, 500. A bit less than that. A bit of cutting oil. Got everything locked. And engage. using the power cross weld. Whoa, yeah, should have thought that. Well, that's it. Parting can be very easy. That's 1 inch diameter steel. Some a bit of junk I've got handy. So yeah, I can recommend I can recommend this tool, but I suggest you don't get any cutting blades for it other than the one that's supplied with it. Get your spare ones from AliExpress. It's a lot cheaper. Big savings to be made there. So I thought I'd show my face just to prove I'm not AI and say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy these little videos. I'm trying to improve the way they're made, and we'll make some more tutorials at some point along the way. So thanks again. Catch you next time.